Brentford have rejected another bid from Newcastle United for Wissa. The Geordies made an improved offer of 35 million plus a potential 5 million of add-ons as well for the striker, but Brentford said no. This one being reported by David Ornstein. The governor is back. He's reporting this one, not Ben Jacobs, that guy. Feel a bit stitched up by him yesterday. All summer I've been bigging him up. I said, this is the guy, this is the man. Actually, Ornstein is. But apart from that, Ben Jacobs, he's on the money. He's got his finger on the pulse. I'm starting to trust him. I'm hyping him up. Feel a bit stitched up yesterday. Feel a bit let down by Ben Jacobs over the last 24 hours. We'll discuss it later on in the show. But for now, I want to discuss Wissa, Brentford, Newcastle United. Because I think the most interesting thing in this article in The Athletic isn't that Brentford have rejected Newcastle's offer. That felt a little bit unsurprising, if I'm honest with you. Because that 5 million of add-ons, I should stress, was stressed in the article that was difficult to achieve. So the assumption would be that that 5 million wouldn't get paid, or not much of it would get paid. So while it's a £40 million offer, felt more like a £35 million offer, right? But perhaps the most interesting thing is a source at Brentford, who obviously is remaining anonymous, has stressed to David Ornstein that Brentford at no point at all have given anyone, whether it be Wissa or a club trying to sign Wissa, Newcastle in this case, a target price. So Brentford don't actually have a valuation out there that anyone's aware of as to what they would accept for him. Now this goes back to claims from Wissa's side of things. Reports last week suggested he felt that he was told he could leave this summer for 26 million and that perhaps some promises have been broken, hence why he is not part of the first team at Brentford at the minute. He's really eager and determined to leave Brentford. He wants to go to Newcastle United. A bit of broken promises. Perhaps might not be the first time we mention that phrase in this video regarding a striker and regarding Newcastle United. A little bit of it going on at the minute. But I do think this Wissa situation is going under the radar a little bit because of that Isak situation. Because that one's so big, it's worth so much money. Because Liverpool are involved as well as Newcastle United. The mainstream media seems to be going all in on this Isak story at the minute, which of course blew up last night. But Sky, everything's covering Isak. But actually, the Wissa one's just as bad. He's not turning up for training. He doesn't want to be here. He's claiming Brentford aren't fulfilling their promises. Brentford are now, albeit not as public as Newcastle, claiming that's false. We've done nothing wrong and we're sticking to it. But I think this is what would make it difficult for Newcastle. On the assumption this article is accurate, obviously in negotiations it's a two-way thing. Buying club makes offer, selling club says no, but usually there'd be a bit of a counter there, which is, well, this is what we're looking for. Brentford ain't giving Newcastle that. Brentford are giving Newcastle nothing. Because if we go back, I don't know, a couple of months ago, it's been going on for a while now, the rumoured price tag for Wissa was 40 million. So Newcastle might feel they've met that, albeit it's broken down. Then a couple of weeks ago, the rumoured price tag was 60 million, which, as a neutral in this, I've got no dog in the fight. 60 million is chunky. Now, someone commented yesterday on my video saying, I like the word chunky. He's correct. I'm using it. It's now becoming an official term here on Tartan Jail. Chunky, along with stinky. For anyone that's new to the channel that wasn't here in the month of June, the word stinky is sticking around in Tartan Jail as well. I like that word, stinky. So chunky, stinky. It's two words not moving. 60 million for Wissa. That's on both the chunky and stinky side of things, right? 40 million, I think, feels fair, all things considered. Turns 29 soon. Now, I appreciate it's basically a 2-year contract. Officially, it's a 1-year contract, but Brentford can activate a clause in there and make it a 2-year one. So, it's basically a 2-year he's got left to run on his contract. But I do think the circumstances around Isak and Wissa are slightly different because of the valuation, because of the contractual situation, because Newcastle can probably afford to go into the season with Isak there and basically say, look, you either sort your attitude out and get reintegrated back into the team, or you sit in the reserves. You decide. Because I think Newcastle, if you look ahead to this season, assume that they sign a striker, so their striker options going into new season are Grumpy Isak, new guy in Osula, and makeshift Gordon, if you like, they'd probably still go on and have a good season. They'd probably still get European football, whether it be Champions League football or not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure they'll do that with replacing Isak anyway. But I don't think the drop-off would be that significant in terms of them digging their heels in with Isak. It's not a great situation, don't get me wrong, but I still think Newcastle will go on and have a good year. With Brentford, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure they can afford to dig in and say, you're not going anywhere, you're part of the squad, and put Wissa in the reserves. Because I think a bad season for Brentford, a bad season for Newcastle is finishing 8th, no European football. A bad season for Brentford is finishing 18th in Championship football. I think Brentford, for me, I think they're under a little bit more pressure to sell Wissa. Now, I like what they're doing. They're taking, the tough stance with him in Newcastle, saying, no, you're not getting a bargain. You're not getting what you want. You're not getting what you want. We've got our valuation. The only problem is no one knows what it is. They're keeping it secret. I don't think it'll take much more if Newcastle go back again. Now, apparently, they haven't decided if they're going to go back again for Wissa. Again, understandable. I feel like it's getting chunky. But maybe 40 million guaranteed cash rather than the 35 plus a difficult 5. They won't be too far away. But it does feel like Brentford are rejecting these bids very, very quickly. It was only yesterday the news of the bid came out. Bang, straight away, rejected. Anyway, speaking of that Isak thing, I've kind of just covered it really, haven't I? That's my thoughts. Newcastle have a decision to make, and I think their decision will be, you are staying. All summer I've thought Isak will go to Liverpool. And I think now one of two things are going to happen. Either Liverpool play ball and pay big, which is 140 million maybe. I appreciate their asking price maybe 150, but would they turn down 140? I think they're going to really charge Liverpool for this inconvenience. Or they keep Isak. I like what Newcastle have done with this statement, by the way. I'm not picking sides. I know what Isak's claiming. I know what Newcastle are claiming. Personally, actually, when I say I'm not picking sides, I'm going to give my opinion on it. What I believe, right? We're all going to believe different things. I think Newcastle fans might be more inclined to believe the club. I think Liverpool fans will be more inclined to believe Isak. And those of us who support neither of those teams will all pick something. Here's my belief. I believe the truth's somewhere in the middle. I wouldn't be surprised if 12 months ago he's promised a new contract by Amanda Staveley. She's obviously departed since the new group. Even Paul Mitchell's departing now, so there's been some big changes then. So I think those that maybe perhaps made a promise, which was a new contract rather than being able to leave, have now departed, and he's not got that new contract. So his reaction is, well, I want out then because I want to go earn big money. I want to go play for titles. That's my guess on this. I could be completely miles away. I don't know, but that's my guess anyway, that he was promised something, but not necessarily a move, a new contract, and he's not been given that. And as a result of that, he's kicking off and he wants to move. But I do think Newcastle played a blinder here. Publicly, they're being very firm, but also being very fair. And that comment at the end there, that he's considered part of the family, and when he's ready to come back, he'll be welcome back, keeps the door open. Because ultimately, on the 2nd of September, once that window's shut, Isak has no choice. He's got to almost get his head down, apologise and get on with things. Is he really going to sit in the reserves for a season? I can't see it. I cannot see it. I think it would be silly for him. It would be a waste of a year of his career. So I think if Newcastle can get through to the window closing, I'd imagine he'll apologise. And this has happened many times in football, whether it be Wayne Rooney at Man United, whether it be Steven Gerrard at Liverpool. There's loads of instances where a player wants out, it doesn't happen. They knuckle down, they get on, they go do something. They might stay for 1 more year, 2 more years, 3 more years. Anyway, that's my reading of the situation. Now, sticking with strikers, Rasmus Højlund has rejected a move to AC Milan. They wanted him on loan. He said no. He doesn't fancy going to AC Milan. Speaking of Italy to England, Douglas Luiz. Oh, hang on a minute. I forgot to ask you. Oh, bit late now. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. If you fancy sticking around, I've got my Premier League predictions coming out tomorrow. I'll do a bit of FPL as well. Looking forward to it. I enjoy creating that type of content. But do subscribe if you're new, and please do drop a like on the video by clicking thumbs up, regardless of if you're new or not. If we could get over 200 likes, I'd appreciate that. Right, Italy to England. Douglas Luiz is off to Nottingham Forest. They continue to keep spending big money. They're making a big squad, big talent. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm rating what they're doing at the City Ground. Douglas Luiz to Nottingham Forest for 25 million. Feels like a very fair fee. Now, I'm riding on the assumption they're going to get the Aston Villa version of Douglas Luiz. Not seen him play for Juventus. I've probably seen him play a game or something without realising it, but I don't know. I know that he missed half the season with injury, but as long as Forest get the Villa version, they've got a bit of a bargain there for 25 million in my opinion, but he'll bring a lot of experience into that midfield. Just thinking about it, Douglas Luiz, Elliot Anderson, insert who you prefer, but for now, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs-White and Doy. Wood up front, why not? But on the bench having Jesus, Amari Hutchinson, James McAtee, Calamendo, Sangare. Oh, I mean, that squad depth is just ridiculous, isn't it? That's a. I'm going to say it. They're building a squad capable of challenging for the top 6 of the Premier League. I appreciate it's not that wild given what they did last season, but I think it's fair to assume halfway through the season it felt like a one-off. Well, looking at the transfer business, it doesn't really feel like a one-off anymore. I had them for bottom half of the table, but I did say that this is the one club I'm expecting to do more business and I'd reevaluate. But for now, it's very impressive. I'm still very jealous. Another player that might be leaving the Premier League is Kiwior of Arsenal, linked with a loan to Porto, which would have a £23 million option to buy. I tell you what, as a West Ham fan, I'd have him at West Ham any day. I think he's underrated. I think he gets a lot of stick just because he's not Gabriel or Saliba. Now, obviously, Arsenal have signed Mosquera. I think there's a good signing there. I think 23 million is not offensive for him. I rate him. I rate him quite a lot. I was very impressed with him when he stepped in last season. I actually think he's one of their better centre-backs in terms of on the ball, not defending. I think Saliba and Gabriel are better than him in that department. In terms of technical ability and ball at feet, I think Kiwior's better than those two. Not Calafiori. I would rate Calafiori greater than that, but it does look like Arteta's going to utilise him more as a left-back this season. But Kiwior, on loan, if there's a Premier League club needing a centre-back, I think there's a good sign in there. We're talking about West Ham all day, every day. Leon Bailey has left the Premier League. He's joined Roma on loan with a £20 million-ish option to buy for the Italian side. And Ben Jacobs, not that he's ever going to watch this, Ben Jacobs, stitch me right up. Been hyping you all summer. All summer. Ben Jacobs, drum, me, drummer, bang, 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 bang. Right? Hopefully that made sense. Yesterday, Spurs agreed a deal with Palace for Eze. Today, Oliver Glasner's confirmed Eze will be playing tomorrow night in the Conference League. Well, it doesn't sound like they've agreed a deal, does it? Mark Gay also playing as well. I'm excited, actually, for Crystal Palace fans. Do you know something? I hope they go on and win it. I hope Crystal Palace win the Conference League. I hope Nottingham Forest or Aston Villa win the Europa League. I hope Newcastle go on and win the Champions League. Yeah, why not? Doesn't bother me seeing certain England teams. Doesn't bother me seeing certain English teams do well in European football. For those ones I've just mentioned, I'd like to see them go on and win a trophy. Best of luck to them this season. Best of luck to Crystal Palace getting their campaign underway tomorrow night with Eze in the starting 11, despite what Ben Jacobs claimed. Anyway, I'm off. I'll be back tomorrow with my Premier League predictions. West Ham at home to Chelsea. Ooh, I wonder what I'm going to predict in that game. Newcastle United at home to Liverpool, though. Got Nottingham Forest. Is it Nottingham Forest Crystal Palace on Sunday? I think it is. Oh, that's a tasty game. So we've got the Cass Derby and then we've got the Isak Derby this weekend. Looking forward to it. Right, I'm off. Hopefully you've already dropped a like on the video. If not, you made it to the end, so you must have liked it a little bit or you just couldn't change the video. But please do drop a like on it. Subscribe to Tartan Geo. See you tomorrow.